Carlos Alcaraz finally breaks silence on why he hasn't talked to Rafael Nadal since the tennis legend's emotional goodbye at the Davis Cup. November 19, 2024, will forever be remembered as the day the tennis world lost one of its greatest warriors. It wasn't just a regular Tuesday, it was the day Rafael Nadal, the Spanish gladiator who had spent over 2 decades destroying opponents with his insane topspin, called it quits. In a heart-wrenching farewell, Nadal bowed out after losing to Botic van de Zandschulp in the Davis Cup quarterfinals in Malaga. And just like that, one of the sport's most iconic chapters came to an end. For fans, fellow players, and basically anyone with a soul, the idea of never seeing Rafa battle it out on the ATP Tour again is still a tough pill to swallow. The man who made a career out of sprinting like a lunatic, hitting forehands that defied the laws of physics, and roaring "Vamos" like his life depended on it, is now living a quiet, Nadal-free life. No more grueling training sessions, no more knee-exploding slides on clay. Instead, family time, leisurely strolls, and, who knows, maybe even the occasional siesta. And Carlos Alcaraz? The so-called heir to Nadal's Spanish tennis throne? Has he reached out? Sent a heartfelt text? Maybe even an emotional voice note with background violins? Nope. Nada. Zilch. In a recent interview with Sport, Alcaraz casually dropped a bombshell. He hasn't spoken to Nadal since that fateful farewell at the Davis Cup. His reason? Out of pure respect. He deserves to enjoy his family and everything he couldn't before, said Alcaraz, currently ranked world number 3. While probably crushing another gym session to maintain his ridiculous speed. And honestly, he's got a point. The man gave 20-plus years of his life to a sport that chews up and spits out its greatest talents. Rafa sacrificed vacations, birthdays, Christmas dinners, and probably even a few sanity points just to chase little yellow balls around the world. If he wants to kick back, sip on some sangria, and avoid talking about tennis for a while, who the hell can blame him? But make no mistake, Alcaraz still worships the ground Nadal walks on. The admiration is real, but so is the respect. He understands that when a legend like Nadal finally hangs up the racket, it's not just a career-ending moment. It's a life-altering one. And if the king of clay wants some peace and quiet, the new prince of Spanish tennis isn't about to mess with that. Meanwhile, in the ATP rankings, chaos. As Rafa enjoys his well-earned retirement, or at least a very extended break, the ATP rankings have turned into a wild, unpredictable roller coaster. And guess who's perfectly positioned to take advantage of the madness? Yup, you guessed it, Carlos freaking Alcaraz. With Jannik Sinner, one of the biggest threats on tour, suddenly suspended for 3 months, the ATP leaderboard is wide open. Nobody saw this twist coming. And while the details around his suspension are still murky, one thing is clear. His absence creates a golden opportunity for Alcaraz to climb higher in the rankings. But he's not the only one making moves. A new name has stormed onto the scene, João Fonseca, an 18-year-old Brazilian phenom who just bagged his first ATP title in Buenos Aires, skyrocketing 31 spots in the rankings. Talk about making an entrance. If this kid keeps up the momentum, he could be the next big thing, adding even more fire to an already stacked generation of young superstars. And then there's Sinner. The guy who had been dominating, sitting comfortably at number 1, now finds himself watching his lead slowly disintegrate as he serves his time off the court. While he's expected to return in time for Roland Garros and the Rome Masters, the damage to his ranking might already be done. So what's next? Will Alcaraz seize the moment and push for the top spot? Will João Fonseca continue his meteoric rise? And most importantly, will Rafa finally unblock his phone and give the kid a call? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, tennis never stops, even when its greatest warriors take a break. The ATP rankings are a bloody war zone right now, and Jannik Sinner is feeling the heat. Just this week alone, 500 points have evaporated from his total, and if he doesn't get back on court soon, his dominance at the top could start looking shakier than a rookie's second serve. His absence is like a flashing neon sign for his closest rivals, practically begging them to snatch away his throne. Alexander Zverev, currently sitting at number 2 in the world, is still trying to get his act together during the South American clay swing, while Carlos Alcaraz, world number 3, has a golden opportunity waiting for him in Doha. Unlike Zverev, who's busy rediscovering his best form, or at least trying to, Alcaraz is in a much better position and could make a serious dent in Sinner's lead. If he goes deep in Doha, the gap at the top could shrink faster than expected. Looking at the top 10, one player who has been making moves is Daniil Medvedev. Even though he's not exactly playing at his best, the Russian still managed to grind his way into the semi-finals of the Marseille tournament, collecting just enough points to leapfrog 2 spots in the rankings. Now sitting at number 6 in the world, Medvedev has overtaken both Alex de Minaur and Novak Djokovic, proving that even when he's not in peak form, the guy is still a damn nightmare to deal with on the tour. Beyond that, the rest of the top 10 remains mostly unchanged, for now. But that stability might not last long. With the ATP 250 in Doha featuring 5 of the biggest names in the game, the fight for rankings points is about to get seriously intense. Every match is going to be a battlefield, and it wouldn't be shocking if the leaderboard looks completely different by the end of the week. One player who deserves a special mention is João Fonseca. The young Brazilian sensation just pulled off one hell of a ranking jump, going from number 99 to number 68 after his breakthrough victory in Buenos Aires. That's a massive 31-spot leap, bringing him closer to direct entry into the biggest tournaments on the ATP calendar. Considering his insane level of form and the fact that he barely has any points to defend, Fonseca's climb up the rankings is probably far from over. A couple of Serbian players have also been making waves. Miomir Kekmanovic, after winning the Delray Beach Open, jumped from number 56 to number 42, while Hamad Medjedovic, finalist in Marseille, has now secured a spot at number 73. Meanwhile, Spanish tennis is having a pretty damn solid week as well. Pedro Martinez, fresh off a semi-final run in Buenos Aires, has now achieved the highest ranking of his career at number 37. Alejandro Davidovich Fokina is back inside the top 50 despite a minor setback, and Pablo Carreño Busta is grinding away in challenger events, desperately clawing his way back toward the top 100, just 11 spots away from making that happen. Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic are now in the same section of the draw in Doha, meaning a potential showdown between the two could be on the horizon. For Djokovic, this week is hugely important. The 37-year-old legend isn't just returning to singles competition. Doha holds special significance for him. The Spaniard, on the other hand, is stepping into the event as the top seed, facing Marin Cilic in his first match. The Croatian veteran hasn't played a single match this season due to a knee injury, so Alcaraz should have a pretty smooth start. For Djokovic, things might not be so easy. Coming off a muscle tear in his left leg, his physical condition is going to be tested immediately. His goal? To equal Roger Federer's record of 3 Doha titles. His last match ended in disaster when he was forced to retire during the Australian Open semi-finals against Jannik Sinner due to physical discomfort. That withdrawal sparked a wave of speculation about whether he was truly fit enough to continue at the top level. Now, he's back, on a mission to silence the doubters and rack up more silverware. Novak Djokovic is teaming up with Fernando Verdasco in doubles, and it's not just another casual partnership. It's the grand farewell for the Spanish veteran before he officially hangs up his racket. Verdasco, a key player in Spanish tennis for over 2 decades, is getting one last dance under the spotlight, and who better to share that moment with than one of the sport's biggest legends? For Djokovic, this week is about a hell of a lot more than just doubles. After being forced to withdraw from the Australian Open semi-finals, his return to competition is a major test, both physically and mentally. The Serbian superstar is stepping back onto the court with one mission: to prove he's still the undisputed beast of the game. With huge tournaments on the horizon, Doha isn't just a warm-up. It's a battlefield where he needs to regain his rhythm, sharpen his game, and remind everyone why he's still the biggest nightmare in men's tennis. But let's be real, Djokovic isn't here for participation trophies. He's a psychopath for winning, and his eyes are locked on nothing less than lifting the damn trophy in Qatar. That being said, it won't be a walk in the park. The field is stacked with elite players looking to make their own early season statements. Every single match is going to be a dogfight, and Djokovic will need to be at his absolute best, not just physically but tactically, if he wants to bulldoze his way to the title. Adding another emotional layer to the week is Verdasco's farewell to professional tennis. The Spaniard has been a relentless competitor and a well-respected figure in the sport, and his final moments on court will be packed with nostalgia. Having Djokovic by his side in doubles is a fitting tribute to his incredible career, a way to go out swinging with one of the greatest of all time at his side. As Verdasco says his emotional goodbye, the tennis world will get a chance to reflect on his contributions, his unforgettable battles, and the legacy he leaves behind. Meanwhile, Djokovic will continue his quest for absolute domination, looking to send a message to the entire tour. He's back, he's hungry, and he's not going anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Here at Tennis Zone, we're all about bringing you the best content for the best audience. We've got in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and full coverage of everything happening in the tennis world. Join our community and be part of the action, because this season is just getting started.